Hey guys, welcome back
Hey.
to our iteration of our webinar series and specially themed Majulah GCP version. Awesome. How are you, Harizan?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, like it's been a long time. I mean, the last webinar session was like 2 weeks ago, right? And then like just keeping up with just like rereading some of the old news from Google Cloud Next and everything. Just like okay, letting all the news slowly sink in. It's really a lot of stuff.
Yep. Talking
Yeah.
about that, Club Next ended it was a fun-filled 9 weeks of different content coming from Google Cloud, and then we did webinars. I think like total of like 4 to 5, covering each of the topics like every 2 weeks. I think that was really, really, really fun. So yeah, what do we have today for our participants today? Majulah GCP. So this is like
Yeah.
the second season now. In fact, this is kind of like nostalgic. We started off this entire thing with the first season. I can still remember like what we did for the first one. I think we had a few of us back then. Back then actually we didn't have this structure yet. Like I think human RSS wasn't a thing at first. I think that only came in at the second webinar. But the first one we did a lot of introduction of different topics, and then Majulah GCP, right? I think that was for that first webinar.
Yes. And I guess like that was kind of a first time like getting into this YouTube space. Most of the time, I guess we don't know what we're doing. We're just like, okay, let's see how this rolls about, how people take on the content. But I guess like after a while, once we get used to it, then I guess the webinars become more like on a frequent basis. So right now, schedule is every 2 weeks, new webinar. But naturally, with as much as possible, if there are new additional cool things that happen, definitely we want to cover them. And right now is the season for Majulah GCP, and it's the season 2.
Yes.
I guess the season 1 was like quite a while back, and there wasn't a particular theme around it. But this time, there's a particular theme. If I'm not wrong, I mean,
Yes.
I don't like. I haven't exactly gotten into it.
So
But yeah.
it's mainly data science and ML. Yeah, so that's the main theme, and we're gonna talk about that. I think for those who are just joining us, there's gonna be a total of 18 quests that you can try out for Majulah GCP, and of course, as with all Google events, you can expect some swag that comes along with it. If there's no swag, I don't think you can call it a Google event, I guess. But the swags are pretty cool. I think we're really excited to show you guys later. And talking about like the cool stuff that Harizan mentioned, that we cover during each of these webinars. So I think let's go into that first. So for those who are joining us, maybe this is kind of like the first time you're joining us for these webinars. Usually we go through this segment called Human RSS. So it's like kind of like an RSS feed, but we are the RSS feed, I guess. And we let you know like what are the curated news, what are the latest stuff that we want to share with you guys. So let's get started with that, shall we?
Yep. Let's start.
Okay, so before we jump into Human RSS, just to mention about DevFest. So we're gonna have like a collaborative DevFest with GDG Singapore, with various GDG groups in Malaysia, and this is gonna cover one entire month. So watch out for October. We're gonna hit you at every angle. On every single weekend. Weekend day where there'll be an event from a different GDG group. And we'll share with you the details in much more later on. Okay, but just watch out for this for the entire month of October.
Yeah, on a random note about the October, I did hear that the usual yearly event of Hacktoberfest is also happening as well.
Yes.
So I guess this whole DevFest and Hacktoberfest kind of being coincide could be a coincidence, but yeah, there's a whole bunch of tech events happening at the same time. So yeah, look forward to all those tech related content and stuff coming out. So
I think
yep.
maybe a bit of context, like maybe for the those who are joining us, like maybe a bit of context into Hacktoberfest. Basically, this is an event by DigitalOcean, right? They host it yearly, and
Yeah.
I think it's something along the lines of like 5 pull requests for. Okay, so the event is for encouraging participation to open source, and as long as you make 5 valid, if I'm not wrong, I think it should be 5, 5 valid pull requests that's accepted, you'll be eligible for a swag pack. So I think they usually only give like the first like how many thousand. So, and this is a global event. They'll send it to you regardless of the location. So if you like swags and you like open source, I think this is like a very easy win. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. I entered the link for that event in the comment section, in the comments, in the stream of comments, I think on the site while you're watching the YouTube stream, so you can take a look at that there. But yeah, I mean, that one is not exactly part of this whole webinar thing. I mean, it's by DigitalOcean, right? So, but it's kind of interesting to kind of know that there are other tech events happening at the same time. But yeah, let's get rolling to human RSS.
Okay, so human RSS, we have 4 segments. Let's start with shiny new stuff. Okay, shiny new stuff. Slightly unfortunate. I think usually this is kind of like the same trend that we see from year to year. Right after Cloud Next, usually there's like a dry spell of things that's announced from Google Cloud. So we'll be sharing a little bit later on in regards to all the things that were new stuff that was announced during this Cloud Next. So you can actually look into that to sort of recap on all the new things that happened before. But I think since the last webinar, there hasn't been any huge stuff. I think there was only one that we kind of identified for application developers. So if you're using GCP and if you're using the SQL instances, like for MySQL, Cloud SQL for MySQL or Postgres, this is actually something that will impact you, or I think at some points of time when you need to do migration of data between databases or exporting data. In fact, this is directly focusing on exporting of data. So this new feature that they put in allows you to be able to export data even if the database is in production. And for the context of those who may not know like what this actually helps us with, the idea is that if you have a database in production, if you try to export from it, because there's that rapid fire writing and reading from that database, usually that will result in errors. And the issue is that when you start exporting or dumping your data from your database instance, usually it will cause a slowdown as well, and you can't stop that export once you have started that. So this is like one of the ways to get around it in the past before this having this feature is you create a RAID replica, sort of as a slave, you disable the sync, and then basically just do a dump directly from that desync replica. So in that moment, you'll be able to get all the data without having to impact your production database. But this one makes it even more easier. You don't need to go through these steps. You just need to indicate that you want to do this serverless export, and you should be able to get your exported your database dump or export without having to perform all these extra steps. So it's really interesting. I would suggest you guys to check this out if you frequently use Cloud SQL. Over here, this bit.ly link here. And okay, so that's the only stuff in regards to shiny new stuff. But I think we have plenty of other things to actually share with you. So tips and tricks this week. Okay, so a bit of a beam, I guess. But this is something that GCP has been pushing in terms of, I think there was a blog post on this. They're also putting it in their documentation in regards to web hosting as well as protection of your services on GCP. So the main 2 products they are actually pushing for is using of Cloud Armor to protect your services, as well as Cloud CDN, to optimize the performance of your assets being delivered. And this is in conjunction with a load balancer. So I think this is a read that's really interesting. Do check out this if you are frequently hosting web applications using GCP. And if we have one more. So Harjan, what's this one?
Yeah. So okay, this one is more pertaining to I guess fans of GKE in particular, or like users of Kubernetes essentially. So essentially, there is this podcast. If you haven't heard of this podcast called the Kubernetes podcast, covered by hosts Cratebox and Adam Glick. Both of them, I think, are Google employees. They cover a whole bunch of content on their podcast, and like they cover like all the people who kind of privy to all the internal information that is internal, like all your Kubernetes internals like scheduling, runtime, the container storage interface, maintainers, those kind of people. So they have access to, and they have interviews with all of those people. So it might be interesting uh, if you happen to be interested in like how development processes within the Kubernetes ecosystem kind of work out. You can hear some of these podcasts. I believe it's kind of weekly or at least bi-weekly. At least there will be one podcast coming out. So as you can see here, it's already podcast number 122. So that's a lot of content already available here. And some of the content is actually pretty fun to hear. So some of the ones that I find particularly interesting is the content about scheduling. So because scheduling definitely impacts how application developers interact with Kubernetes, right? So how certain scheduling, how Kubernetes maintainers approach the problem of scheduling workloads to on Kubernetes, and then like the maintainers happen to be the same guy that happen to touch Google, one of the Google container system, the container orchestration systems, I think was Borg and Omega. So those same people are now kind of working in Kubernetes as well. Not all of them, but some of them. And they definitely bring over some of the same learnings from those systems into Kubernetes, and that's how some of the benefits kind of come up. So some of the things that kind of come up is like this thing about node taints, where you can prevent workloads from running on certain nodes. So this kind of functionality is typically not available like if you are running your workloads on virtual machines. It's harder to do. It's not impossible. I mean, you can definitely write a binary for it and everything. But yeah, with all this stuff, all these features, it's kind of interesting to hear their views and everything.
Okay, so let's move on to the next part. So we've covered Chinese news stuff and tips and tricks that we have to show you. Community content. So some of the community content by the community. And yeah, so some of you might actually remember this. This actually just happened less than 24 hours ago. And yeah, this is by one of our, I guess I'll say like partner groups in a way, developer space who actually conducted this event, so-called in the cloud, Kubernetes and GKE. And it was a really, really exciting event that discussed a lot of different interesting topics in regards to Kubernetes and GKE. I mean, even for myself, I learned quite a bit from there. So I would very much recommend for you guys to, hop in for this and, watch the stream from yesterday. Yeah. And from there, right, actually, there was this interesting chart shown by Giri yesterday. This is actually the CNCF landscape. And basically, there's this very interesting chart. So like for any company, right, especially for startups, right, you might be wondering, how far you should bring yourself in terms of like, the technology or the tools that you're using. And of course, like maybe for startups, you might start to think about serverless first. But as time goes on, maybe you would think about, let's say if you were using VMs before, you could use this as sort of like a guiding path for you to think about, okay, containerization, maybe I should do that on my VM and then get up like, CI/CD, getting up orchestration like using Kubernetes, so on and so forth. So it gives you a lot of good hints on where to get started and what tools you should look out for. So I would say this is a very interesting read. You can actually look at the search for the blog post, or if you want, you can just go directly to the GitHub page and look at the infographic over here. It's really, really informative.
Yeah, and I will also say that for this YouTube video, right? You definitely might want to check out the live chat as well, because like there is a small little like argument or discussion coming up about Helm, like what's the best approach to deploying applications, and people are like, oh, Helm is the best, and Helm is the way, or de facto way. And so then I guess I kind of came in as well and like saying, oh, there's also customized, I guess. And then like there were people saying about talking about K3s as and yes, another version of Kubernetes, like a mini Kubernetes. So I guess if you are kind of interested to see what kind of discussions when you put a whole bunch of people of Kubernetes fans together, I guess this is kind of what comes up. So I guess hopefully there will be a future episode of this particular episode of Kubernetes and GKE, but maybe more in depth in a particular segment, maybe like how to arrange or how to schedule applications, just scheduling itself. I don't know, but we will see how it goes. Yeah, let's go to the next point.
Okay, so this one, as mentioned earlier on, Cloud Next just ended. There's going to be a bit of a dry spell, but it's only because they actually put all the new releases, all the new products, things like ML Ops, and things like that. They cram all those great stuff within Cloud Next. So even if there isn't any new stuff happening within these few weeks, we very much recommend that you look for this link over here. This is actually going back to the announcements. This blog post, right, they actually go through each week of the 9 weeks of Cloud Next, and they actually detail down each of the products and as well as the what content actually was discussed during that week itself. So actually, if you don't want to go through, all the, I probably would guess like 300 odd videos of all the sessions for everything in Cloud Next. This is a pretty good alternative to that. You can just read through this one single blog post and they'll tell you what happened, from week 1 to week 9. So very much recommend that, you look into this if you want to know about the new stuff from GCP coming out fresh from Cloud Next. Okay, so the last part, Learning Corner. So this is dedicated for those, I think, especially for those who are coming from for Majulah GCP. I think some of this information here, not directly pertaining to Majulah GCP, but it's going to be really useful if you really like, let's say, things like Qwiklabs, or if you want to go for certification. And let's start out with the first part. So I think this is something that we've been sharing repeatedly. And just to put it out here again, for those who have not went to this link before, it's a really good. I think if you sign up for, basically they'll ask for some of the details. And basically this is an effort by Google in pushing for people to get the Associate Cloud Engineer certification. And along with that, you get like a free month of using Qwiklabs. You don't need to put your credit card in, and that's a really great thing I like about that. And you can actually, try out different Qwiklabs. Qwiklabs is, using Qwiklabs, you can actually try out Google Cloud. It's sort of like a sandbox that you can create per lab. And you can actually learn about how you can actually use different tools in GCP without having to pay a single cent. And that's really awesome, for helping you to prepare for getting a certification. Okay, and I think along with this, they will give you like some discount to Coursera and Plura site, if I'm not wrong. But mainly I'll say, the getting you to the path on the free month with Qwiklabs, and also getting you prepared for the Associate Cloud Engineer certification. And this is another thing actually announced by Qwiklabs. So this is a collaboration between Qwiklabs and CloudBees. If you're interested, you can actually look into this. I've actually pasted a bit.ly link for here. You can also go to their Twitter page. Actually, what you need to do is just make sure you finish this one lab after you go to this link, and they'll actually give you 1 extra month of Qwiklabs. So it's like a free month of subscription. So if you actually went to the link earlier on, or if you're trying out Majulah GCP, you get a free month. If you go to this, you finish this lab, you get another free month from there. So if you're preparing for your Associate Cloud Engineer certification, this gives you like a lot more time to actually try out, to prepare, that sufficiently prepare yourself before you actually go for the test. And then, rounding up all these different learning opportunities, you have this Associate Cloud Engineer cert preparation. Unfortunately, this one is kind of ad hoc. Like we posted about this, I believe, this morning or yesterday night. And this one is actually going to be occurring like 4 hours from now, 12 a.m. GMT plus 8 Singapore time. So this will be between 12 midnight and 12:45. If you're free and if you're up to it, you can definitely participate in this. If not, I think probably they will have like a recap of this after the event. So you can just check out the link after this. So if you're interested in getting the Associate Cloud Engineer certification, these are events that you can actually go for to sort of prepare yourself, hear the tips from different people who have taken a test before or who are Googlers, and they can tell you, what you need to prepare before you actually go for the certification exam. Okay, so this is all we have for today's Human RSS, but because today is a special Majulah GCP edition, of course, we have more stuff. So yeah, Majulah GCP Season 2. So this is going to be about data analytics and ML. And for those people who are, I think someone is asking, can we get those links? Okay, so I think you're referring to like the previous links to. Okay, I think later we can definitely paste this into the chat. I think during the Q&A later on. But yeah, if you can't find it in the chat later on, you can also see like later the live stream itself will convert into a video, so you can actually watch the video directly and get the link from there. But I think later during our Q&A, I think we will probably just try and paste it over there. And okay, so going back to Majulah GCP. Okay, so yeah, this is ML and data analytics. And for those people who are here today registering for today's webinar in regards to this, if you have not yet signed up for the event, you can actually go to this link over here and get yourself signed up. And what's there for you if you sign up? Basically swags. Of course, swags is always good. Now that we don't have any physical events, usually we give like swags during physical events, but now that there's no physical events, this is really a good opportunity to get all the quota of your free shirts for a year. Tier 2 is especially neat. There's this hoodie over here. Usually you don't get any events that give you like hoodie. So, and Qwiklabs, this one is actually free. If you sign up for this event, they give you 1 free month of Qwiklabs. And then once you finish 12 different quests, you can actually get this hoodie. So, free learning, free swags. How about that? So yeah, just to mention, there's 2 different tiers. As I said, if you finish 12 different quests, you get to tier 2. If you finish 6, you get tier 1. So basically, tier 1 is essentially the waterproof laptop pouch, which is this thing at the back, a cap, and then this mug over here. Okay, for tier 2 is an additional hoodie. Okay, so as mentioned again, 6 quests and 12 quests. Okay, so yeah, there's a total of 18 different quests that is eligible for this one challenge. Okay, so you have to pick only from this pool of 18 different quests. Okay, and once you go to the quest, usually it's like a sort of like a timeline of like, not timeline, but rather it's like a track of 4 to 6 different labs. So you have to try out those different labs. Usually each of these are tied to the theme as you see over here. So for example, intro to ML image processing, that's definitely going to be mostly about ML image processing. Or something like advanced ML infrastructure, again, much more advanced topics in ML. Okay, so yeah, try out those labs that you're interested in. You don't have to finish all of this. Like as I mentioned, there's 18 of them over here. You just need to complete up to 12 for tier 2. Of course, if you want, you should go for all of them. I think Google has been pushing for different people to go for these skill badges. This is kind of like the one of the new badges that they actually created. And they actually are encouraging people to go for the skill badges, because usually at the end of these skill badges, there's this challenge lab that you can go for, sort of to prove that you learn something from the experience of running through all these different Qwiklabs. And of course, along with getting these badges, you can actually post them on your LinkedIn profile. I did post some of the skills one because of that challenge lab, and some of them are really, really interesting. Okay. And so yeah, just to, I guess, self-advertise for myself. But this is something really interesting that I built over the weekend, I think 1 weekend ago, using AngularJS. Actually, so I wanted to find an opportunity to learn about AngularJS, and this was a really good chance for me to build something. So the idea is this application over here helps you to look at your Qwiklabs profile and allow you to check, like, how many labs you have left to do. So I think just to give like a short demonstration, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a bit. And okay, give me 1 moment. Okay, so I hope you guys can see this the screen over here. So basically, you can see, yeah, this is basically that web page. what you need to do is that you see that there's this input over here. So all you need to do is just paste in your public profile. So you can see over, oops, not Reddit. What a super. Okay, so yeah, the Qwiklabs link. If you don't paste in Qwiklabs link, I think you'll see just now there's like that error. And this is supposed to be to the public profile. Okay, so this is your public profile page for Qwiklabs. And once you're done, just press enter. Okay, wait for it for a little bit. Basically, there will be something in the background that will pull your public profile and do some comparisons. And once it's done, you can actually see over here, they'll give you like the stats of your how far you have progressed. So for example, in this case, I actually finished all the 12 quests already. So it's 100%. Along with tier 1, again, yeah, that's completed. So over here, they also will tell you like, what's the prizes. Of course, if you have not completed, some of the quests, they actually will suggest to you, okay, what are the remaining quests that you have to target. So you actually don't have to do like sort of back and forth between your profile page and then back to the homepage of Qwiklabs and trying to find like the quest that you have to look for. You can actually go directly here and just find the uncompleted quest and just progress the quest right away. So if I click this, they actually open a new page to the Qwiklabs, the link to the Qwiklabs quest. Okay, so I'll say yeah, very convenient in this case. And if you want to, instead of having to copy and paste your profile every single time, you can actually copy this link over here. So this is actually the link. So I'll just paste over here just to show you. It's actually, yeah, it's back to this page itself, but it will contain your Qwiklabs profile link. So you can actually just copy and paste this, and I don't know, if you want to save it, so you can easily get to this page without having to copy and paste your Qwiklabs public profile link again and again. Yeah. So just kind of a little hack for you to easily get to know what quest you haven't finished or not. Okay, let's switch back to the presentation.
On a random note, is the Qwiklabs link public, right? Your profile, is it automatically public or like you have to set it to be public?
That's a good question. Yeah, you have to set it public first. So if it's not set to public, that application cannot actually visit your profile link, so we can't get any information. So the idea is that if you're participating in Majulah GCP, you are already requested to make your profile public. So we're actually like sort of piggybacking off that and to be able to actually grab the information from your profile since it has to be public anyway.
And yeah, someone asking like, is the project kind of open sourced?
Well, you can search for like it is how should I put it? The GitHub repository is public. If you want to, if you are sort of running Jora GCP, I guess you could use that, change it slightly, some of the values slightly. I think I put most of the badges information in like a JSON file. You can just change it slightly and then just run it and be able to track your progress there as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I assume that for all the different campaigns.
Let me see if I can.
Do you have the GitHub link?
Let me pull it up really quickly.
Because like there's a whole bunch of like other campaigns happening at the same time. Like I kind of remember that Jora GCP is also happening, and then like something similar happened in the past for Malaysia and Vietnam as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully this project can fit those requirements. It should be flexible enough. Like it's just changing the JSON file, right? From my last conversation to you about it.
Yeah, it mostly should be that JSON file. I think there might be some cleanup that I need to do. But yeah, it was engineered to not like sort of hardcode too much values and make it more reusable. Maybe even if we get to like Majulah GCP round 3, we could just reuse this again.
Yeah, but it's an open source project, so if anyone needs to modify certain things, raise a PR, and that's nice. Hacktoberfest is coming. Hacktoberfest is coming. So if you raise a PR and Rian kind of approves it and merge it, one PR for you, 2 goals merged into one. Yeah, you improve something that is like useful for you as well as like fulfill your quota for Hacktoberfest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so going on to the next part. So I think just to share with those who maybe have not joined us for the first or rather our second webinar before, we actually had a participant who, at the end of Majulah GCP, he actually went ahead and created his own application. This is based off of the knowledge that he learned from Majulah GCP. So it was really interesting to have him like sort of on the webinar itself. And let me tune in into that part and give you guys.
Maybe I'll pass it over to.
That's me again. Okay, let me just adjust it closer to the timing itself. So just sort of a testimonial from the earlier.
Yeah, thanks. I think we've got one person asking if we can share the link again. I don't. It's in the history, I think, but let's just post that again. So yeah, just a final question really for Kang. I mean, if other people are interested to learn more about Google Cloud going forward, what would you recommend to them?
I think if you have an idea of learning more about GCP, I think I would like to highlight that you should try it out, and it's the best way for you to learn on the Qwiklabs platform, because I have tried it out and their service is among the best. Because during my Majulah GCP challenge, I faced lots of problems, and when I had a chat with their service help desk, I got a reply within seconds. So please try Qwiklabs and learn GCP from there. You won't regret it.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah, so that was from our second webinar. I think the first few that was driven off, sorry, not driven off, that's a bad word, was sort of kicked off with Majulah GCP. And I think we had a lot of good feedback in regards to Majulah GCP back then, in terms of kicking start different people's careers with Google Cloud, as well as with trying out, building up your own applications. So it's a really, really fun experience back there, and we hope you also have a really great experience with this current Majulah GCP, learning about data analytics and ML. Hopefully, be able to create some interesting stuff. And definitely, if you have created, all this different content, right, do share with us. We'd love to highlight those side projects that you've created, within the community content, as you saw earlier on. Okay, so without further ado, I think just to recap on the instructions, if you are joining into the webinar, you have not yet signed up, right? Make sure you visit this link, this shortened link, Google goo.gle, Majulah GCP, register, put in your details, and then based on the email that you put in, the staff will actually send you the information on the code required to get the free bundle Qwiklabs. And then you can use that to clear at least 6 GCP quests, for tier 1 of the swags, or 12 to get tier 2. Okay. And once you're done, you can actually go to this link over here, bit.ly Majulah GCP2 Summit, and then you can just put in your, I think they need your Qwiklabs public profile. So once they have checked for that information, I believe they'll actually get in touch with you in terms of, let's say if you've qualified for hoodie, they'll actually ask for your size and stuff like that. And just to mention, this is only for developers in Singapore. So if you're in Singapore, then you can redeem the prizes. But if you are in, let's say if you're in a neighboring region like in Indonesia, that I think Majulah GCP is actually going on right now. It's actually also going through in the same time period, 11 September to October 11. Okay, so if you're interested, you should also check that out. If you need help, do make sure to contact this email over here, MajulahGCP@google.com. And yeah, so recapping what we have done in Majulah GCP for the first season, we had many different people who learned many different stuff. They have shared with us the different success stories, different things that they have learned, the swags they have won. You can see over here, Chromecast that they got for the first season of Majulah GCP. And we anticipate all of you sharing with us your success stories in time to come for this season of Majulah GCP. So share with us. We have our Facebook group. I think later we'll share with you the link later on. There's a Slack page as well. We have our meetup page. So if you have if you're using a social media like on Twitter, LinkedIn, do share with us the once you have completed the different tiers on what you have learned and yeah, your success stories. Okay, so I guess we can go into a little bit of Q&A if anyone has any questions. And I think sort of to round up our Q&A, we can actually also bring in like our good friend and our community manager Shafras. So Shafras, I'm gonna pull you in. Oh, Shafras, I think you need to unmute yourself.
Okay.
All
right. Unmuted for life.
Yeah, finally. Yes.
Hey Shafras, how's it going?
Going great. And thank you for hosting this event. And I think that was very informative. And apart from learning about Majulah GCP, I think attendees were able to learn about the other practical things as well, practical applications of Kubernetes and the other serverless technologies, etc. too. I think that's like pretty cool. I think we can, since we have opened up the discussion for folks also to ask questions. I think like if you have any questions that you want to clarify, this will be a very good opportunity for you to drop a message in the live chat, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So please do ask away because the reason,
So-
like, yeah, go ahead, Riz.
Oh, okay. I mean, what I was mentioning, like, I was thinking of like, while waiting for the questions to come in, right? Maybe we'll do a small chat and like, maybe provide more details about what this Majulah GCP kind of
Yep.
covers this time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
So Majulah GCP right now is ML and data analytics. I mean, I haven't exactly. I mean, like I'm here hosting, kind of hosting and talking about this event, but personally, I haven't exactly signed up for it yet as well.
Yeah.
So the thing is, okay, I mean, seeing that Rian has already completed the event. I mean, not the event. The whole campaign. I see that you already like managed to get like the 12 quest completion and getting the tier 2 tracks already. So what does Majulah GCP kind of entail this time? Like I can assume that it's mostly BigQuery for sure. I mean, like Google definitely prides itself on BigQuery a lot. There's a lot of BigQuery news even in Google Cloud Next. So definitely BigQuery, right? And definitely some like TensorFlow ML, like what kind of stuff is being covered this time around?
Yeah. So thank you actually for asking that question, Harizwan, because last time we had infrastructure quests. We also had questions around like quests around like it was a mix. Infrastructure, application development, a little bit of AI machine learning as well. We had in season 1. And then because it was just starting off the learning journey, and we want to kind of like give like the developers here in Singapore how and what it's like to get started with the Google Cloud Platform. So those were like the very fundamental level quests that we had, and then also very probably we went ahead with a little bit of intermediate level quests as well. So this time, so the reason that we wanted to focus on machine learning and data analytics is mainly because there's like a huge tendency here in Singapore that we're seeing a lot of developers are so much interested in machine learning, AI related activities, and also there are we'll see data analysts, we'll see data scientists, we'll see like front end engineers who are interested in doing data analysis. We'll see like backend engineers who wants to do machine learning related activities. So there's a lot of interest that we saw after doing season 1. So because of that, we thought, okay, let's do like a wide array of topic areas, including, as you said, BigQuery. It's one. And then we have on data catalog, there's one quest on data catalog. And most importantly now, like when it comes to like GCP, and when it comes to machine learning, a lot of folks knows about like AutoML. A lot of folks would know about like the machine learning APIs. They'll also think that there are some folks who doesn't want to use a model built by someone else, but rather they want to build their own thing, right? So there's TensorFlow, and then there's AI platform in GCP. So we thought, okay, so why don't we include quests around like machine learning APIs, and then AutoML, and also finally the TensorFlow, to get a sense of how things would work inside GCP. So those are a couple of like quests that we have focused this time for season 2, and it's great to see. Like there's a lot of enthusiasm from professional developers, student developers here in Singapore joining Majulah GCP season 2. And this is happening in parallel to Indonesia's Juara GCP. And then we are seeing there's a completely different enthusiasm here as well. There's a lot of enthusiasm, especially among the professional developers, which is fantastic. So those are the contents that we are following, and then that's the enthusiasm level that we have.
Yeah. Okay. And, we finally got a question. So there is a question that came up. So so there's this thing about cloud data fusion requiring some sort of joiner in order to connect BigQuery, and the person was asking whether if this is some sort of bug or some sort, and because they were saying that the Wrangler requires a joiner to join the BigQuery. So do any of you are you familiar with the data fusion product?
So I'm not sure exactly which quest this would be. So if Lim can drop us a comment and say you can mention about the quest as well that he found this. So to be honest, with data fusion, I actually haven't worked. But in case like if you're the question is, are you facing an issue, or this is not the way it should happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
So I mean, like if you really think that it's a bug, like okay, let's say like there's many cases within when people are using Qwiklabs where you do something and you believe that it's correct, and you follow the instructions to the point, and it's like it's not picking up the values, like that it doesn't check that the Qwiklab, Qwiklab doesn't check that it's correct or some sort. Like the checking is not done properly, so like it doesn't give you the point to complete the quest. So there are sometimes such bugs happening, so you need to kind of contact Qwiklab, the support staff. And he kind of added some sort of context behind this question. The lab is to do with hands-on lab building dynamic pipelines in cloud data fusion using macros. Wei Yan, have you tackled this?
I did this last week, but I didn't recall that being a missing step. Yeah. So I suspect, I know time to time they do amend the instructions like within the, within this entire exercise itself. So sometimes it is possible that they remove it. And time to time I do find like there's some discrepancy in the instructions. So like on the bottom right hand corner, like there's a chat icon, right? Usually actually what I do is I'll just click that and I'll just ping them right away and tell them about it. Sometimes, yeah, if it's missing instructions and it's causing like some problems with the lab itself, usually, yeah, they will assist you in terms of getting you back on track. I think at the backend themselves, they also will know like what are the correct steps of getting to answer. So yeah, I think usually that's what I would do. Again, yeah, I think as you mentioned, if it might be a bug, I mean, based on my understanding of that lab, like I will not profess myself as a professional using this product. I just use it for this lab itself. But from what I understand, like every single pipeline that you create from there should be all those joiners for each of those individual resources. So there shouldn't be a part where you are not able to join all of them. Actually, yeah, I would recommend that you do send in a feedback via the chat and let them know that there's something wrong. Hopefully, if that you manage to complete it. How do you manage to join the Wrangler and the BigQuery?
Okay, I think it's because you tried it out.
Okay. For this one, okay, I'm not sure if I will be able to exactly help you with it. Again, you might have to hit on chat, but I did had a similar problem with this. But mine was actually more along the lines of cloud storage, which is that I think you need to have like a source and a destination, right? And actually on the left side of the page, right? So you actually can click the drop down and sort of drag the resources there. So one of the issues that I had was that I actually clicked like for a different exercise, I clicked the for the source, I click cloud storage, I put it in, and I tried to pull the joiner, right? But it doesn't join because it's supposed to be a source. You can't actually join the wrangler to the source. You have to actually scroll down to the response part, click it, and then after that the join should happen. For me, that was the problem that I faced. Like that, it sounds very similar to this. I hope that's the same thing, but if not, yeah, I would say yeah, if you can try it again, and actually yeah, ping the what's that, the chat for help.
Yeah.
For help, I mean, yeah.
Qwiklabs support chat.
Or I mean, like if the issue is still persisting, you can like drop the chat on Slack, which I think the link we'll be sharing later, and then like see whether anybody else is also facing the same issue as you. I do believe like people on Slack are kind of on the helpful end. Like if they know what the issue you're facing, they might help you. But yeah, I mean, definitely try with Qwiklabs support if you believe that is an issue and you can't access a certain resource or like something wrong with the instructions. Definitely try that first, and then if that fails and the support staff say this step is correct for sure and they have checked it on their end and everything's all good, then maybe you can drop it on Slack to see if anybody is facing the same issue. Because definitely it's not. Because like there are a whole bunch of people also doing that lab, so maybe that's definitely another person who could potentially face the same issue as you. But data fusion sounds like a GUI based kind of yeah. Okay, then I guess you can. I don't know. Like to me personally, I find like GUI based interfaces tend to be the most like troublesome, most buggy to go through, because like you can't exactly tell the user what exactly to click, and then UI interfaces keep changing every day. So I don't know. Personal opinion. Okay, so with that, hopefully that the person who was asking the question earlier, hopefully that will answer your hopefully answer your concerns a bit. If you have more doubts and everything, just drop a chat into Slack, which I guess by now you would have the link to it. Yeah, so right now there's no further questions, but I guess maybe it'd be good to go through like one or two questions that came up on Slack as well. It's kind of covered, but I guess it might be good to kind of cover it here as well, because like I guess it's kind of relevant. So I think there was someone who was asking about how do people exactly go through the content on Qwiklabs. So like, you know, sometimes for a first time person who actually like uses this Qwiklabs and everything, like everything is new to them. Like, you know, they have never interacted with servers and like, oh, server, Kubernetes, Docker, BigQuery, and it's like, okay, what does all these things do? So the person feels like it's a bit overwhelming. So what kind of strategies like do you go through to get started with this whole like learning process? Because like for some people, maybe even for people who just graduated, you know, all these technologies, these products are all new. So how do you slowly go through and you know, understand how to utilize these products? Yeah. So either Wian or Chafras can answer this. Your just opinion, I guess.
Do you want to share it on the screen?
The question. It's on Slack though. Okay.
You want to share screen? Maybe it'll be easier.
Okay. I'll just share the question, I guess, on via banner. Okay, hold on. So yeah, this is kind of what the person kind of wrote up on Slack. And yeah, that is kind of the gist of what I was trying to explain. Maybe my explanation is too long.
Is it cut off like, or am I just taking this?
I think it was cut off because I think it's too long. Yeah, am I taking this seriously, or am I just taking this too seriously? Yeah, that's the words.
This one is more opinionated, in a way. Like different people probably have different ways of learning from this. For myself, do I write study notes? Yes and no. For some I would, some I wouldn't. I don't really have like a very direct criteria. I guess because for me, I feel that for Qwiklabs, it's quite easily available. If I need to recap the steps, I can just go back to the lab and sort of go through it again. Usually, I think I will actually keep more on the more tabs on the link to the documentation instead, because I think the documentation itself is probably what's more useful in understanding the product itself. Like usually Qwiklabs itself, they will give you like sort of part of the picture on how to do something. But if let's say if I'm running Cloud Run, so I'll get part of a picture on how to actually deploy an application on Cloud Run, and then I'll actually go to the documentation page, right, to see actually, okay, let's say what's the full configuration options for Cloud Run. And actually that would be, I think, what's the more crucial details that I can actually take notes from.
Yeah, that's true. I think I agree with what Yuan said. It's completely dependent on which situation you are in currently. If you are in total competition mode, you might not want to write down. But if you are in a situation where you really want to learn about it, you want to cross-reference different sources, write down certain notes, yes. Because I was doing the same thing. I was taking down notes when I was getting prepared, getting ready for the certification. So Google Cloud certification would require you to have hands-on experience, and then Yuan shared me, Harizuan shared me and said, hey, you should go through the documentation for sure. So that's definitely a best practice. So when you do hands-on labs, you might remember certain, like a piece of piece of information which was in the documentation. Sure, you might want to write it down. So you make that connection between different sources. But like in case if you're getting ready and if you want to sort of cross-reference different information together, it can be a good thing for you to do, but it completely will be depending on the person. Some people might take notes, some people might not take notes. So it's completely up to you.
All right. Looks like there's no other question that kind of come up so far.
I think fairly quickly we can mention that about getting 1 month free access as well. There were a couple of queries when we were starting off. We had, hey, I'm new to Qwiklabs. How can I get free 1 month Qwiklab access? So as soon as you sign up, you'll receive an email. In that email, there will be an instruction video as well. So this instruction video is from season 1. So which means you don't have to follow the VM migration quest. You have to kind of like replace it with the current lab that we have mentioned in the Qwiklab code, right? So don't worry, the steps are going to be similar. There's one step which makes a whole lot of difference, is that like there's a certain copy pasting that you have to do. Now let's take an example. If I am joining as a newcomer to Qwiklabs and Majulah GCP, let's say if I'm doing that, I might not have a account, right? I'll just click on Qwiklabs link, then I'll be directed to like this particular quest link, which will have and say, hey, intro to ML, image processing, and it says enroll, etc. Even the steps would say enroll. You might go and like when you're trying to enroll, it will say, hey, first you will have to log in yourself. Yeah. And then after you log in yourself, you'll be automatically sent to the main page. This is where the trick comes in. So once you are in the main page, just make sure you go back to the email, click on the same link that you clicked when you wanted to create the account. So when you click on that, it'll land you back to the um, page. And once you click on enroll, then you will receive credits. And once you complete the first lab, then you will receive 1 month free access to Qwiklabs as well. So that's one simple part might be missing in case if you're not receiving credits plus 1 month free access to Qwiklabs. So that's something that I like fairly quickly wanted to share as well before we end. Yeah, I think Lim has another question.
So the question this time is like there was an instruction that was mentioning like, oh, okay, you need to do some sort of social media posts. I mean, that kind of like chimes back to how we kind of get to know about whether how we kind of have to advertise that you completed this stuff and everything. And yeah, with that hashtag MajulahGCP. So essentially the question was how does one put the hashtag?
Oh,
So-
that's fairly easy actually. What you need to do when you're making the social media post, if you have any experience that you want to share, you can mention that in the social media post, and then just mention hashtag MajulahGCP in any of the social media. It could be LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, doesn't matter. But only thing is, just try to make it a public post, so we'll be able to like check it out, and people around also will be able to see that and congratulate you as well.
Yeah, so make it like, I guess you can the words like hashtag MajulahGCP. I mean, people just call that weird symbol like that. I guess the hack sign in front of MajulahGCP as hashtag right now.
Yeah.
So like hashtag MajulahGCP, you put it as part of your post, and then it's kind of like it'll be auto recognized as a hashtag. So and it's like applicable on these public social profiles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we had a previous slide there as well, which showcased like a bunch of posts coming in from different social media channels too. Do we want to showcase that in case Lim wants to take a look at how it look like? Yeah, so these are a couple of social media posts. If you can see, I'm not sure if you can zoom in though. Let's
Yeah, I
see.
mean, or alternatively, like you can like go to Facebook and search based on hashtag, just like type MajulahGCP and see what comes up. I
Yeah.
think like most of these social media products out there, they do some sort of like indexing of this like hashtag of sorts. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna show directly from LinkedIn, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boom.
All right, there we go. Oops. There we go.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
adjusting.
So you just type in this, yeah, it will work.
Yeah.
And this is we have quite a lot of people who have finished. In fact, just 4 hours ago. Whoa.
Yeah. You can see all these lovely people completed the quest.
Yeah, that's true.
And definitely getting swags for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah. Yes. So another question that came up as well. So if one doesn't understand the labs, who do they reach out to in order to discuss the concepts or the stuff behind the labs? So I guess I can take on this question. So I think we mentioned a couple of times here. If you are pretty sure of what you're doing and you think that you are in the right and you went through all the steps, you check concepts and everything, and you definitely think that it's a bug, you can contact Qwiklabs support. But then if you are just entirely not sure what you're doing and you're copying and pasting, it's like, okay, what just happened? And like stuff shows on screen and like maybe like nothing's happening as what you expect. You can actually reach out to firstly the Slack group. I think that we'll be showing the link soon. Yeah, here you go. That Slack group, definitely right now it's active once more because the moment season 2 starts, like number of people on the Slack group suddenly becomes more and more active where people started asking questions and commenting on stuff. So you can definitely drop your question there, and then but naturally don't just like drop like, oh, how do I do this? No, like best to describe what your problem, like what have you tried, what you're doing, what have you tried, and what have you researched on, and ask like which approach is better and everything. Give as much context about your problem as much as possible, because people who are looking at looking to help you, right? Sometimes they have limited time, and you want them to help you as fast as possible. So the more context you provide, the better it'll be. Okay, that's one. That's Slack. You can potentially also ask on Facebook. Facebook, it's a bit on the slower end. Like you don't get a response so quickly. So let's say if you post it today, maybe you'll get a response maybe tomorrow or the day after tomorrow or something. Yeah, but eventually you will get a response of sorts. So you can try that as well. The last one, Meetup, don't ask questions there. Over there, like essentially it's quiet zone. So Slack or Facebook, the two social media. I'm not sure what verb to use here, but Facebook or Slack you can use to post your questions there and ask about the concepts and how to do certain things on Qwiklabs.
Yeah. So Brijesh, now once you sign up for Majulah GCP, you will receive all the instructions via an email. So the email will have a link to the Slack channel as well. Click on that link and you will be able to join without a problem. Yeah.
So just to reiterate this part, whether it's this link over here, GDG join Slack, or the one in the email, there's no invite required. Once you go in, I think they'll prompt you to create a profile immediately, and you should be able to get a Slack channel from there. If that helps.
Yep. Okay, so I guess we are crossing the 1 hour plus mark, and I mean we need to give people their evenings back. So I think we should proceed forward with ending this webinar. If people have more questions, definitely post them in the comments on this chat, on this video. This video is definitely going up. Not tonight, maybe sometime around midnight or 1 a.m. if you care to wait. Or you can just like wait until tomorrow morning, and then the video will kind of come up, and then you can start posting your questions there. Both myself and Rayan will keep a lookout for those questions. But if those questions need to be answered more quickly, Slack and Facebook is your go-to for sure, rather than the YouTube comments. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Awesome.
Okay, so moving on to this part, I think because we have DevFest coming up soon, if you have any topics that you're interested to speak in, or the stuff that you want to share with the community, doesn't matter whether it's Google Cloud, can be about Android, Kotlin, TensorFlow, anything related to Google technologies, even Chrome, AngularJS, do send in your CFP over this link over here, bit.ly GDGSG CFP. Okay, so we await for your participation and your self-nomination. So we'll look into it and we'll get in touch with you. Especially in the case of DevFest, if we find that there's a fit, we'll contact you, and we might also reserve you like for future events as well. Okay, so yeah, again, if you're interested in sharing something with the community, do go to this link and sign up for it. We look forward to hearing all the great stuff you guys want to share with us. And okay, I'm gonna leave this for like maybe 5 seconds longer. Okay, DevFest. So we mentioned this at the start. We're gonna mention it again. 1 month chock full of activities. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be Singapore GDG groups, Malaysia GDG groups. We're gonna go like one big round in October for each of those weekends. Watch out for those. Each of the weekends is gonna be covering different topics, and we are gonna be doing a lot of exciting stuff over there in the entirety of October. So look out for our different social media. We'll update there real soon in regards to the different activities for each of the different weekends. And yep, ending off. Okay, so different social media channels. Facebook, as mentioned just now. Slack, very important for Majulah GCP if you want to discuss with different people within the community, and definitely the meetup page. So yeah, Facebook, we are very active over there, and as well as Slack for this Majulah GCP. And yeah, I think with that, we've come to the end of today's webinar. I think thanks to all of you guys who have joined us, graced us with your evening today in regards to talking about the new stuff in new stuff in GCP, as well as covering about the Majulah GCP. So hopefully you have picked up something new from this evening. If not, you can always reach out to us via these different social media channels. So yeah, as always, I'm gonna cringe when saying this. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our different social media. Especially if you're watching from YouTube, like, share, and subscribe, all that great stuff. If you're on Facebook, like and share the stream. And yeah, we'll see you 2 weeks from now for the next webinar. Bye